Hey, welcome back, everybody. I'm sitting here with Stuart from Wezom. Stuart, you and I were just made introductions just maybe a week or so ago, but I've known your company actually for quite a while. Y'all are doing some heavy stuff in the ERP and data analytics world. You want to talk a little bit at a high level what y'all do?
Yeah, sure. We were founded probably over 20 years ago by a bright young visionary named Serge Gazenko.
Who I've met.
Uh,
He's a great guy.
yeah, he really is an interesting character. And we've grown that business under his guidance, tutelage, to the point where we now have offices in four different countries, 250 staff, and we've created over 3,500 custom solutions for hundreds of companies around the globe, Mark.
That is
Uh,
crazy. So you're
yeah,
not a small time player.
no,
Yeah. So one of the things, the whole reason we have you on the show and have your company on the show, is that the oil and gas industry right now, the energy space, needs help with technology, and it needs help in lot of different places. But one of the things I like about Wezom's approach is that when you come into a company that needs help, you don't try to sell them anything. I love this. You actually try to understand what they're struggling with and if you can help them. That includes things like big data analytics and ERP, two hot subjects in the oil and gas space right now.
that's correct. Our methodology begins with discovery. What are you doing today? What's working for you, and what's not working? Those are the basically the first three questions we're going to ask.
I love that. And so, just to be clear, since this is the Oil and Gas Digital Doer Show, have y'all done work before in the oil and gas space?
Yes, that's correct. We sure have.
Yeah. So, one of the things is y'all are a little bit different. Can you talk about the way that Wezom is different than other companies and how y'all approach doing business in the oil and gas space?
Yeah, sure. First of all, it's all customer based, and as I mentioned before, it's all about asking questions and understanding what's needed. Specifically in the oil and gas space, I'm not sure that there's that much that really makes a company unique or different in the way that they approach the oil and gas. I think there's probably hundreds of providers these days providing specific solutions for oil and gas. Um, what I believe is it's really more of a matter of degree. For example, executive commitment to be the best, stay the best. How committed are they really, Mark? And does this commitment extend to the people they hire, the policies they implement? How hard do they push to stay on the leading edge of technology? And do they lead by example, or do they send pictures from their cottage on Friday afternoon to the folks back in the office?
I love that.
You know,
It,
so
it is different in the way y'all do business. And one of the things I like the best is that um, not only do you understand the technology, not only do you understand the business challenges that's going on in the oil and gas space, you also understand a little bit of the culture that this industry is risk adverse, that it doesn't like to adopt anything new, but we need help with technology. Like I said, the very first sentence when we started this whole thing. And so one of the things that's interesting is typically there's a handful of big players in this space, right? So there's the Microsofts and the SAPs and the Oracles, and they have a lot of the enterprise business. But here in the US, about 80% of all the hydrocarbons that are brought to market, all the oil and gas, is done by small independent operators. It's not done by the Exxons and the Chevrons of the world. And some of these smaller independent operators are multi-billion-dollar a year companies. And so one of the things I think is cool that Wezom does is you have offerings that are not the big box. They're not the big technology like your ERP system, right? That does as good, if not better, a job for a much less capital outlay, but also at the same time, your ability to work with your clients and make sure your implementation goes well, I think is bar none. I've seen a couple of y'all's implementations before, and it's literally you're hand in hand with the client. You're not a vendor to them, you're a partner, and I love that culture that y'all foster.
well, we really take a more of a flexible, modular approach to ERP. We, like many of the companies you mentioned, we don't feel it's necessary to take over everything that you're currently doing. We recognize that parts of your business are running smoothly, and maybe most importantly, we understand today that budgets are usually pretty limited. So we really focus on four key modules that are needed most in the what we think are needed most in the oil and gas industry: billing, CRM, HR, and electronic document management services.
Yeah, getting rid of paper in this industry is something that's been talked about for as long as I've been in it for 25 years, and it's finally starting to happen. And I love that you do all of that. But I also like the fact that when y'all engage with a client, you do a deep dive to make sure you understand what their needs are. You're not going to be like one of the bigger tech companies I rattled off that come in and try to own the entire enterprise. In fact, you're okay coexisting with other technologies behind the firewall of the same company.
It's critical, and the way we approach our business, Mark, it's critical that we operate that way. We have to plug into a lot of different third-party applications, and because, as I said, many things that you're doing today are working fine, you know, and there's no reason to replace those. Why spend the money when you don't need to?
Yeah, how many tech vendors have I heard that from? Zero. The other thing, Stuart, that I want to talk through some of the harder
If I
things.
if I could just
Okay.
jump in,
Yeah.
one of the things that I really like about Wezom, and the reason that I wanted to come on board and rep Wezom really was exactly that reason, because they're not looking for a sale, they're looking for a client. And I sometimes think that the big guys, they're looking for a sale, and they're going to swallow you up, and that's what they're going to do. But Wezom, we don't want this sale. We want a client. We want to work with you. We want to grow with you. We want to be with you 20 years from now.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things y'all do. So that business approach, I think, is outstanding. It's needed in this industry, and you're right. There are companies out there that are either looking just to close a deal or increase their billable hours or whatever, not trying to make sure they do good, solid business. But things like cybersecurity, can you talk about that a little bit? Because that's super important in this industry, and I know Wizom is a champion of very strong cybersecurity.
Yeah, my depth on that is about an inch deep, but it really is. If you go to our website, if you start looking into what we're doing, it really all starts and ends with security. Bits and bytes are easy to move around today, so you've got to be able to have confidence in moving to a partner, moving to a different system, that all your client data. I mean, how long has it been since we heard, of another company getting hacked and everybody's personal information stolen? It
Happens
seems
all
like
the
it's
time.
weekly almost that we're hearing
Yeah.
of some major organization. So at Wezom, we really start and finish with security.
Yeah, I want to back you up a little bit. You mentioned a couple of things that's really important with your ERP solution. One is a CRM. Um, the days of remembering your client interactions on an Excel spreadsheet or on a sticky note stuck to your monitor are over. You need to modernize that, and there's a lot of companies that have yet to do that. But y'all make it ridiculously easy, don't y'all?
Well, CRM is a topic I could go on about for quite a long time. I've been involved over my career in many implementations, and it's all for the sales department, Mark. It's all for the sales department. But as a sales guy, it takes you forever, number one, to learn it, and number two, to input the information. And particularly, you think about those 10% of your sales team that are really bringing in your most profitable orders, the superstars.
Right?
They don't want to fill out CRM at all.
Well, let's
But
let's unpack that. Let's talk. Let's be open and honest here.
sure,
Most CRM installs are not really for the frontline salespeople. They're for management so they can get reporting. Right?
that was exactly. And yet every time we've sold it to our sales force, Mark, it's we're doing this for you, right?
And
And
and,
that's
and
how
I'm a
it's built,
salesperson, right? I'm a salesperson. We use
right?
a CRM. If that CRM doesn't help me, let me tell you what I do. I pencil whip it. I put in the minimum amount of requirement that my management makes me do, which means the data in the CRM sucks, which means the biggest use of it, which is forecasting up the chain, isn't accurate. I mean,
That's
I
right.
guarantee you, I can go to any oil and gas service company right now, open their CRM, I'm going to see 50 deals that are past the due date. Why are
That's
they past the due date, right? And if you say something, what happens? The seller goes in there, just moves the due date out. That's not real information. And yet, Wezom's CRM is actually much more useful to the frontline salesperson, which means they're going to use it, which means the data is going to be good, which means your forecasting is going to be good.
that's exactly where I was going. The CRM tool it looks, when you see it, it looks like it was designed for salespeople. It really does. And I think that's exactly how they primarily developed it for the salespeople. And once the data's in there, it's a simple job of getting it out in whatever configuration the executive needs it in.
Yeah, and then I know that y'all customize reports. All that's configurable by your buyer, which means that you may have one set of reports that goes out to executive team and a separate set of reports that maybe goes up to sales management, so that you can make smart business decisions using this tool.
That's exactly it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to
Exactly.
sell it for you. I just happen
I,
to
I
know.
appreciate it. You're doing a better job than I would.
No, no. I just happen to come from a sales background and I know the struggles there. But I also come from a business background. So ERP does something else, which is billing. That is the lifeblood. We talked about salespeople, but once a salesperson closes the deal, somebody needs to get that invoice out, and they need to get out quickly so that you can maintain cash flow. And once again, it's all built into your ERP system.
That's exactly it. The billing system is probably, in my opinion, if I was an executive, that's the first one I'd want to install because I want to get a better handle on my money. And
Yeah.
that's what the billing does. Again, it comes this the comes with a robust set of tools to be able to minimize energy costs, consumption tracking, all of those things that now are done in several different ways, sometimes within the same organization, are now under the same roof. They're centralized, automated. Um, it just it saves so much time, frees up so many resources, and makes sure that your billing is accurate.
Yeah. And once again, let's open the kimono. And a lot of the oil and gas companies, even some of the bigger ones, those are separate, disparate systems, right? So accounting may live in one system, accounts receivable may live in one system, accounts payable may live in
That's right.
another one. Your inventory may live in another place, your CRM's in another place, and all that data is siloed. None of it's interconnected. You can't mine it. It's just a mess. And yet, when you bring on Wezom's ERP system, you have it all together in one place, and you can use it and actually get a better snapshot of what your business is doing.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. It's like night and day, and that's what we hear back from our customers is we can't believe how long we put this off. I mean, if we could go back and make one change, it would be adopt this system 20 years ago.
Now, the last little piece I want to talk about, because it's super important, although it's not sexy at all, is the ability to get rid of paper, especially things like paper field tickets. Y'all have that built in. Now, every comptroller and CFO that's listened to this, his ears are going to perk up when I say this word: days sales outstanding. DSO, days sales outstanding. Your system shrinks DSO, and that is the holy grail in this industry.
Significantly. I mean, you remember the days when we spent, a lot of our time walking to the file cabinets, searching through the file cabinets, trying to pull information, trying to make, some useful sense of that information. It just, it wasn't, again, it wasn't connected to anything. There wasn't anything automated. We've seen, when with reduced manual entry, automatic entry, reduced duplicate entry across different departments, we've seen the DSO improve by as much as 38%.
Yeah, and
And that's
that's
sort of yeah,
enormous. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
38%.
Yeah, that is crazy amount of cost savings, increases your cash flow, gives you a bunch of financial stability, and it gives you insight into your books, which is sometimes as valuable as the cash
And,
flow to know what's coming.
and all of that improves your profit. All of it. At the end of the day, all of those things migrate down and improves your bottom line.
So, great ERP system, large company, done work all over the world, looking to make customers for life, not trying to just close a deal. But the other thing I think is interesting about what y'all are doing is that your approach that I've seen is much more consultative than it is sales focused. Can we kind of talk about if a new client came on board? Let's say somebody listens to this podcast and they're, say, a CFO of a midsize oilfield service company, and they're ready for a change, and they reach out to you, Stuart. What would that process look like?
Well, it's just so much of the beginning of the relationship really is going to be getting to know each other. And specifically, I mean, the word's discovery, right? We're going to get to know you, Mark, and your organization. We're going to try to understand your points of pain.
What would that be? You would put together an outline of what you think their problems are.
we'll put together. Yeah, we'll ask for a requirements document, and then we'll come back with an outline in terms of approximately how long we think it's going to take to do it, the tools that we're going to do it with, and an approximate cost.
Yeah. And the thing I love about the company is that it's so big that almost anything is in the realm of possibilities. If a company needed to replace their ERP, y'all could do that, right?
Absolutely.
But if a company needed some custom application development done, y'all could do that as well, right?
We do that all the time.
Yeah. And if you have some legacy system that you want to keep and you need some API written so they can talk, y'all could do that as well.
We do it again. Common, common. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's kind of like a one-stop shop. Now, the 800-pound gorilla in the room right now is the fact that Wezom's headquartered in Ukraine. And a lot of people would say, well, what's going on between Russia and the Ukraine? I'm not sure if they can deliver, but that's not, that doesn't even impact this, does it? Because of the
No.
different offices.
Yeah, we've got offices across, and our development is spread across Europe, Germany, Poland, for example, U.S., Canada.
Yeah.
So we're not a Ukraine only company.
Yeah. And my hearts and prayers go out to the people in Ukraine. This violence just needs to end at some point. Hopefully it ends soon. But I tell you what, they are troopers. I'm amazed at their fighting spirit. They're not going to give up.
Thank you.
Anyway, back to the technology instead of the geopolitics, which is another podcast on the network. So you understand the oil and gas industry. You have solutions that can help. You want to make clients for life. Your culture is one of being helpful, not being salesy. You can get anything done that needs to be done. But Stuart, they brought you on board for a reason, and you bought into this for a reason. Why did you buy into this? Because that's, I think, the most golden part of this.
You know, we just started out with a very small relationship, Wezom and I, at looking at some sales processes and that sort of thing. But I was really taken with the people and the culture. I've never met a bunch of people that enjoyed what they do while they're working and after they're working. There's nobody there that's ever off the clock. They just enjoy what they do. They're serious. They're knowledgeable, fun, friendly people. I was just really attracted to the folks and the culture.
Yeah, they are a high energy, fun group of young people, and they have a bunch of senior people there as well. But I was attracted to them because their no bullshit approach. They literally reached out to me and said, "Hey, we know that there's a lot of people in the oil and gas industry that listen to you, and a lot of them could use our help. We want to see if we can help get our message out there, which is what we're doing right here. And just honest and transparent, and just a good, fun group of people to work with."
And so I was glad to come on board and help that. You know, that's really what I do. I get to go to trade shows. I get to be on customer calls. I get to talk to Mark LaCour and just talk Wezom, right? And you can't help somebody that doesn't know who you are. And so we're just trying to get the word out there of what we can do, how we do it.
Wezom is just an ERP company. You do big data analytics, you do custom software, you do custom application development.
Mobile development, mobile apps.
Mobile development, yeah. Anything in the technology space that you may need some help with, and you want somebody that's going to do it right the first time and not rip you off, reach out to them because they will tell you. They'll be honest. If you ask them if they can do something they can't, they'll tell you they can't do it.
We're turning a book into a website.
You're turning a book into a website.
I can't tell you more details than that. At this point, it's all fairly private. We're actually just taking a book and we're making an interactive website out of it.
Okay, so we have more to come. We're going to have to maybe get you back on whenever y'all do. That sounds like an interesting project. I tell you what, the last thing before I let you go, AI has kind of exploded in the world as a whole. And even in the oil and gas industry, I've seen a lot of adaptation of AI tools. But there's a lot of, especially senior technology people, that are a little fearful. It's new. They're not quite sure what it is. But even something like that, if the senior technology person wanted to work y'all and better understand how AI could help their business, that's another place that y'all can play.
We're happy just to sit down and have conversations with people. It helps, again, it helps get our name out there. and it helps people understand the depth of knowledge that we have on the various topics. And AI, I mean, you couldn't hit one that's hotter right now than AI for sure.
Yeah, it did. It is funny that it took a consumer tool, ChatGPT, to bring it to all of our attention. But you and I know from being around the technology world that AI's been around for much longer than ChatGPT.
Oh,
It is
yeah.
funny. All it takes is the right thing, and all of a sudden it takes off. I find that fascinating from a human culture point of view, but it's everywhere right now. Um, Okay, since you teased our audience with something, the book you turned the website, but you can't share any details. I want to ask your opinion, something on AI, and then we need to wind this show down. But and this is just off the cuff. A lot of companies out there are pushing AI as a tool. And I don't know if you're an Apple fanboy or not. I am. But if you dug into what Apple's developers conference did a couple weeks ago, it looks like Apple is pushing that AI is going to be a feature, not a tool. And so if you took a bet this early on, Stuart, if we're going to go 5 years from now and turn around and look and see who's right, is AI going to be a tool or is AI going to be a feature? Where would you put your money?
Oh, in 5 years, I think it'll be
Yeah,
a,
be a tool. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a feature, but I'm wrong a lot. So audience, don't
Now, why,
invest.
why is that, Mark? Why do you think it's going to be a feature?
Because I look at a lot of other things that started off, especially things like some of the social media features, some of the algorithms that understand what you like so they can feed you that same content back. And all of that started off as tools, and then it became a feature, right? That's built into other tools. And so I'm looking at AI being adopted literally
Mm.
everywhere. And to me, if I was going to make money off AI, if I was strictly looking at making a dollar, by adding it and making it a feature in my existing project, I think that'd be a better way to monetize it than to actually make it a tool. Look at maps, right? So when maps first came out, remember you would buy a GPS that had its own maps built into the memory of the actual GPS device. And if you were lucky, maybe you could pay money and upgrade those maps as new roads were built. But it started off as a tool. Then it became a feature, and now that same mapping feature is built into a lot of stuff I use every day, right? So when I get up and I open my calendar and I have a meeting, it will predict how long it'll take me to get there based upon traffic. But
Oh
that's
yeah.
not actually a tool, it's a feature in my calendar. So that's where I think it's going to go. But once again, I have called everything wrong, even podcasting, Stuart. When my marketing person brought me the idea of podcasting oil and gas in 2013, I told him that was the stupidest thing that's ever come out of his mouth. Nobody listens to podcasts. So I'm not real good at predicting the future, obviously. So that's why I think it's going to become a feature, not a tool.
Well, I would say this, and I think to a certain degree, you're going to hit it for sure. I just see in 5 years, I think that AI is going, there's going to be a lot more depth and breadth to what AI can do. And so I think something maybe as simple as ChatGPT will be a feature, but I think there's going to be tools that we're going to be able to use with AI that are going to be much better than what we're looking at right now.
It is a great time to be alive, even in this
Well,
industry. I tell my friends all the time, don't let your kids become geologists or geophysicists. But by the way, geologists love you, right? But I've already seen that the AI is better than geologists already. It just hasn't been accepted by the industry, but I've seen it. It makes discoveries, especially since you can do measurement while drilling. It knows when that drill bit's exactly in the pay zone. It can read all the 3D models in microseconds. It is going to absolutely replace geologists. Now,
it,
the
it's it,
geologists,
it's reading Dead Sea Scrolls.
yeah, it's. I mean,
So throw
it's
archaeologists in there too, maybe.
maybe so, yeah. The one thing I don't think you'll ever replace, though, Stuart, I think you and I are okay, is salespeople. Somebody still has to make the complex easy to understand. Somebody still has to have the stories of how you helped other people, and I don't know if AI will ever get there. I hope not.
I hope you're right. I think that they could eliminate customer service people.
Yep, for sure. And even here at OGGN, I have part of my time. One of my producers, she does nothing but handle invoicing issues to help my accountants, right? So when somebody gets an invoice late or it's not right or it's not coded properly, it's like, what a great application for AI. If the AI could understand the problem and just fix the invoice and get it out and no person would need to touch it, that would make our life so much better. But man, we got off on subject on this one, didn't we?
We could talk all afternoon about AI for sure.
All right, I got to get out of here. There'll be a link to, like I said, for Stuart's profile, also for Wezom. Go check them out. They're doing really great work in the oil and gas space. Honest as the day is long, and you get a chance to actually talk to Stuart, who's just great. Stuart, thank you so much today for coming on the show.
Really appreciate the opportunity, Mark. Thank you very, very much.
All right, people, we will see you next time. All right, people, we will see you next time.